African Americans are not included in immigrant statistics.
What do you mean y'all thought we were immigrants? Y'all thought black people, black Americans, African Americans, blacks, us, were immigrants. The hardest lessons, clearly, it's going to take me a long time to learn and figure out is that other people just don't know what I know. I assume that a lot of people know what I know. That's why y'all keep saying that, huh? That makes sense, I guess. That we're next. Y'all think, what? How do y'all not know how long we've been a part of this country? Black people fought in the crispest attics. Did everybody not, at my little church, every Black History Month, there was this huge thing. I'll never forget when I came to my grandma's house. It was a huge package, and it was all of these cards. They were ABC cards, but on every card's letter of the alphabet and an important person from Black history. And that was what we did all February at Sunday school. Like, we learned those cards. We would have to, and then we'd line up at like the Black History program and we'd have to read them out loud. So I guess I just assumed, oh my God.
Grand rising kings and queens from Africa and across the ocean, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And this is where we don't sugarcoat, we are saying it as it is. Now family, there's a topic here, it's burning right now, it's viral and it's ugly at the same time, because recently some Latinos influencers, or some Latinos especially on other platforms, they have made this bold, respectful claim saying that Black Americans are immigrants. Yes, they really tried to go there and they tried to disrespect Black Americans. And these Black Americans are the very people who fought and bled for freedoms of all immigrants, including Latinos. The freedom they're enjoying, leave alone the ICE raids, but the freedom that immigrants are enjoying is because of the fight that Black Americans fought in this country. Now, the response of Black Americans, oh, it was very sharp. It was too loud. It was powerful. I can't wait to play you videos of Black Americans reacting on that, because it was so much disrespectful. So today family, I'm going to break it all down and I want to take you through why they are saying this, and I'm going to take you through that what is the truth about Black Americans and how Black Americans have responded. So I want you to watch these clips that are played here of Black Americans reacting on these claims, okay? And I'll come back with my commentary as I do always. Welcome.
I just realized that y'all really think Black Americans, or thought Black Americans, were immigrants. Dude, get it together. I'm not afraid for them to be coming for me as an immigrant. My great-great-grandfather was 11 years old when they freed the slaves, okay? And guess what? His parents were born here. So homie, I'm not a first generation anything. I'm multiple generations here. So keep with the stupid threats like, oh, be afraid because they'll come for you next. We didn't immigrate here, homie. We been here. If you really want to look back and they want to go there, they'll find out that we were even here before old Columbus. So not even that. But if you could just start with Columbus and the slave trade, we were born here. We're actually the real citizens. So stop with the BS. And if you want to start tripping, some of you Europeans is only 1 or 2 generations in. So don't act crazy. Let's get real.
I have a slight aversion to the term African American. Language has the ability to form perspective. So when you have a group of people who are just as American as anybody else in this country being referred to as African first, almost as if they are perpetually immigrants in their own country. It seems like it strips Black Americans who are 100% American and are just as American as white Americans. It almost feels like it strips them of their Americanness. It kind of invalidates, it kind of sends the idea that they're less American than perhaps their white counterparts. And this is why sometimes when Black Americans travel outside of America, sometimes people, foreigners in those foreign countries will ask them questions like, well, where are you from? Where are you really from? When a white American travels to those same countries, they aren't met with those same questions. They are viewed as the real Americans, right? They are the Americans. In everyday language, white Americans aren't referred to as European Americans. They are not referred to as something else. They are not labeled as a group that is from a different place other than America, even though they are European Americans. And I do feel like this is a part of the reason why there are immigrants, there are people who immigrate here, and they have such a lack of respect for Black Americans. because they view being American as being white. That has a lot to do with a lot of things, but I do also think that partially it's also because of language. It's also because of labels. I think one of the reasons why they emigrate here and kind of pedestalize white Americans to the point where they joined in on the othering of the Black American community is because they view Black Americans as the others. There are the Americans, which are the white people, and then there are the others. And Black Americans are part of that other group. And the reason for this isn't solely because of a label that Jesse Jackson came up with in 1988. The contributing factors to this are really layered. However, I don't think terms like African American help. Instead, the term African American kind of perpetuates that Black Americans are not real Americans because they are African and then they're American. And the other group are the Americans because they are the Americans. And that's just not the case.
No, because what do you mean that you thought Black people, like Black American people, like descendants of enslaved people of America, the United States of America, okay, were immigrants? Like that's up there with y'all trying to make Juneteenth, or like trying to say that Juneteenth is a diasporic holiday and not like a specifically Black American descendant of enslaved people, particularly Texas, holiday. Like, are y'all okay? Like, I'm really sitting here just trying to understand the thought process that goes into that. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, granted, like, completely understand, like Black people in the large screen, they are not from here, right? Like, you know, there are people indigenous to this land. Like, my grandma is the member of the Catawba Nation, okay? Like, the indigenous to this land, particularly the Carolinas, okay? So I understand it. Like, then that one day, like, they was minding their business and white people, as they are apt to do, just showed up and decided to fuck shit up, okay? Because, you know, white people also are not from here. They're not from here. They from Europe and other. They're not from here either, for real, right? So, like, to say that somehow you get to the point that, like, Black American people are immigrants, but the white people, like, so, like, the said people who are descended from, like, the Pilgrims, people whose families have been here since before America was America, they not immigrants. But the Black people that they enslaved and forcibly brought over here at the same time are, like, I'm just trying to figure out how you could possibly reach that conclusion. Do you know what I'm saying?
So wait, people really thought that African Americans were immigrants? Yeah, I know y'all lying. Don't immigrants go, like, on their own? If they, you know, they go to a particular country on their own accord, you know, because they may be trying to get away from whatever. We ain't come here because we wanted to be here. We still don't want to be here. Hell, we hoping that they maybe put us out and send us somewhere. Well, what do y'all mean y'all thought we were immigrants? Immigrants? Y'all know the story of how we got here? Do that make sense? Like, so many, this world is so disillusioned about African Americans. We're descendants of Africa, but we've been here for hundreds of years. We're not first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, fifth generation. Like, we've been here. We built this country. The foundation of this country is built by African Americans. We didn't come here because we want to be here. Like, what are y'all talking about? Y'all thought we were immigrants. Immigrants? Who? Where? Immigrants? I got papers to prove I ain't no immigrant. Like, some of the stuff that I hear on social media is correct. Like, for real, y'all thought we were immigrants. Come on now. Stop playing. We don't want to be here now. Get us out of here.
5 American facts to break an immigrant's back. Black Americans did not immigrate here. We were trafficked through chattel slavery. The first Americans arrived in Virginia in 1619, not as immigrants, but as chattel property under violent colonial rule. No visa, no port of entry, no green card. Only forced labor, rape, and death. That's it. Black Americans were here before most white, Asian, or Latino immigrants. Do your history, do your research. 1865, over 4 million black people had already lived, worked, and died in America before the majority of European, Mexican, Chinese, or Caribbean immigrant waves began to come here. Source, U.S. Census, 1860. Black Americans are the only group whose citizenship was legislated. The 14th Amendment, 1860, was written specifically for descendants of American slaves, not immigrants. It granted legal citizenship to black Americans who have been born on U.S. soil but treated as property. Source, U.S. Constitution, Congressional Record, Civil Rights Act, 1866. Black Americans fought in every American war before many groups were ever even allowed in America. From the Revolutionary War to the Vietnam War to Iraq, foundational black Americans have fought, bled, and died to defend a country that doesn't even consider us human. I hope you guys understand that our blood is spilt on the land of America. Fact number 5, to break the immigrant's back, to break the ignorance of immigrants' mind, okay? Most Latino immigration was not legal until 1965. 1965? The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 removed the racial quotas that had previously blocked non-European immigration. That means the majority of Latino families didn't enter the U.S. legally until the 20th century, while black Americans had already been here for 400 years. 400 years. So I'm saying that to say this. I think that one of the biggest problems that we have in both communities is we don't have knowledge of who each other are. And I believe if the Hispanic community had more knowledge of who black Americans actually are, they would automatically have more respect for us, right? They don't know who we are, so they don't respect us. I don't know if that's to blame them or the government, but something's got to change. And that was 5 facts to break an immigrant's back.
People know black Americans is not no fucking immigrants. They just be having something to say. They know we are not immigrants. But that do kind of, bring a point up when they be talking about, oh, you guys don't know where you're from. You guys don't know where you're from. We always say we from America. We've been from America for the last 400, 500, 600,000 years. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, huh? How is that possible? Because we are Americans. Like you guys are Nigerian and Ethiopian and Jamaican and South American and Brazilian and Colombia and all of these different things, Cuban and all of them. We are American, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's where we from. So I kind of understood where people was coming from when they was like, but you guys know where you're from. No, you guys didn't know where we was from. We knew where we was from. We know where we from. All right? So that's what it is.
African Americans are not included in immigrant statistics. This is something, and I just saw a video, and it irked me that somebody got this wrong. African Americans are not included in immigrant statistics. When they say the highest number of immigrant doctors, or the highest number of immigrant engineers, or the highest number of immigrant whatever, in technology or whatever, it's not including black Americans. Those stats are not including black Americans. Even if they say of the black immigrant population, that is not including black Americans. So stop thinking that it does, because it doesn't, because we aren't immigrants, okay? And I know a lot of you aren't going to believe me just off my word. So, okay, it never did include us because we aren't an immigrant population. I think in the United States of America, I could be wrong, but the largest black immigrant population that are doctors here in the United States of America are Nigerian. I think. I could be wrong. But yeah. So when you see something, the most engineers are of this immigrant population. You can't think of black Americans as immigrants because the stats don't think of us as immigrants. We aren't immigrant. They're not counting us in that. So it's not a comparison with African Americans. It's a comparison with all the other immigrant groups that come over into the United States of America. Okay? All right. It's not a comparison to us, because then they'll be comparing a super small group of people because there's no immigrant group over here that's larger than 50 million. That's African American. So we're one of the foundational groups. So they're not going to compare 2 million people to 50 million. It's not going to happen. Because either way you slice that by number, we're going to be more. We're going to have more by number, numerically. A number, we're going to have more because this is our country, right? So, yeah, just a thing, because I see a lot of people saying, well, we have the most this and we have the most that when talking to Black Americans. No, you're supposed to be talking to another immigrant group if you're going to compare that, because it's not comparing Black Americans with you. It's comparing you to other immigrant populations, because Black Americans aren't immigrant populations.
I can tell that the inside of your head sounds like a Waka Flocka ad-lib because anti-immigrant pro-black rhetoric, Nicki Minaj stan account. Anti-immigrant rhetoric, Nicki Minaj stan account. Nicki Minaj is from fucking Trinidad. Nicki Minaj is an immigrant. She's not a Black American. You gotta pick a struggle.
Welcome back. First of all, where did this idea came from? The one who said these words, where did you got that idea? That's where I want to start, where the idea came from. And I'll say this. Why are some Latinos out of nowhere suddenly calling Black Americans immigrants? Where did this come from? But let me be clear. We are not about all Latinos, or I'm not about all Latinos. I'm just talking about some confused individuals online who don't know exactly the history and are deliberately trying to rewrite it. But you can't rewrite the history of Black people. The truth is, a lot of people in America don't know Black history. A lot of immigrants in America, they don't know about Black history. It's not taught properly in schools. So you can't know that. The history books have been whitewashed. So you can't get the history book. And to make it worse, you have some immigrants group who come to America and inherit anti-Black racism from the system itself. They don't know about the Black Americans. They are just inheriting it from the system. They get here and they are told, you know what? Don't be like them. Don't move like them. They are lazy. They are complainers. They don't work hard like us anymore. So you are buying these stories. But that's the lie. That is the lie that the system feed other immigrants. And now, some of them are so bold that they are trying to call Black Americans immigrants too. Like they just arrived here like everybody. I will tell you, or let me make this crystal clear right now. Black Americans are not immigrants. Black Americans are the descendants of enslaved Africans who were kidnapped and forced to this land of America. They are not immigrants. And you can't be an immigrant if you don't ask of you. You can't be an immigrant if you didn't ask to come in these countries. Immigrants choose to come here. Like Africans in diaspora, immigrants chose to go there. Latinos chose to go there. Asians, some immigrants chose to go there. But Black Americans didn't choose to go there. They survived it. They survived it and they built it. So, if you want to know who is America without Black Americans, there is no America without Black Americans. Why am I saying so? When I talk about cotton built Americans' economy. But who picked it? It's Black people. Wall Street. What was it there before? It becomes the financial capital of America. It was a slave market. Every war America fought, who was in the front line? Even when they weren't treated as citizens. They're Black Americans. When you talk about music, rock and roll, bars, jazz, hip-hop, all about Black Americans. When you talk about invention, from traffic lights to open heart surgery, it was Black Americans. So the disrespect is wild because Black Americans have given everything to America and got very little in return. So when somebody just wake up and say Black Americans are immigrants, what they are really doing is spitting on the graves of those who were chained, whipped, sold, eliminated, and exploited to build the very nation that the others are now walking freely. And that's why I always call my African family, when they go to black or to America, they need to respect black Americans, because for them just to go, it was because of black Americans. The fighting and the everything, it was because of black Americans. So immigrant groups, including Latinos, to America or went to America, the hard work was done by black Americans, and they benefited from it, starting with civil rights movement, voting rights movement, going to fair housing, educational access, affirmative action. Who fought for all of this? It is black Americans. So again, the nerve, the audacity, the disrespect, the people who laid the foundation for your control or for your comfort is beyond insulting. It is historical amnesia. It is beyond insulting. Okay? So, black Americans have responded. You have heard the videos. They have, and they have been too bold on this. I will say this. On the response, you have heard black Americans saying words like immigrants. My ancestors were here before your abuela got on the boat, saying things like, if we were immigrants, then tell me why my great-great-grandfather was building railroads before you even knew American existed. We fought for civil rights while your family was still deciding whether or not to come. Those are the response of black Americans. I always say black Americans are the foundational, not visitors. And that's why we call them FBA, foundational black Americans, not immigrants, but foundational. So you see, this is about power. And when people see black Americans standing tall, demanding reparations, demanding justice, demanding equality, some people are just jealous, or they get jealous. They think they can rewrite the history to take away that power. Black Americans have the power, you know. So there's this thing we call divide and conquer rule, the real game. And this is what we need to understand, family. This is not random disrespect. This is a strategic. This is a classic divide and conquer tactic that has been used for centuries. Pit minorities against each other, let them fight over crumbs. And meanwhile, the real power, the white supremacy systems sit back and they laugh. And sadly, too many migrants groups fall for this trap. They fall, even Africans, they fall for this trap. They forget the system that doesn't love them either. They forget that they're still struggling in the same system that black Americans have been fighting against for centuries. Forget that when Americans' economy crashes, nobody is coming to see them either. They are forgetting that the fight is not between black Americans and Latinos. The fight is between all oppressed people and the oppressive white supremacist system. But when people try to erase black American history, we are not letting that slide either. We ain't letting that slide. So to my Latinos brothers and sisters, this video is for educational purposes. Many of you have stood with black Americans in the fight of justice, and we have seen that unity before. We have marched both together. We have fought police brutality together, and we have fought against racism together. When I talk about we, I talk about black Americans or black people and Latinos. But let's not get this twisted. Let's not twist words. Black Americans paved the way for you to be here. Black Americans made it possible for you to get the jobs, own business that you are owning here, go to school and get the fair housing. Black Americans took the beatings, the dogs, the water horses and assassination because of everyone, each and every one of you, so that you could come here and build the future. So I think before anybody starts throwing around disrespect, remember that black Americans are the one who opened door for you. Why not asking for favors? We are not, as black people. Black Americans are not asking for favors. Black Americans are asking for respect. Until respect, unity, you know, and even unity can't happen with disrespect in the table. You want black Americans to help you. You want to come in the protest. You want black Americans to fight with you. But it cannot come with disrespect. But why this disrespect? Why? On one word, I will say envy. Many migrants groups get here and they see black Americans standing proud. They see black Americans controlling culture. They see black Americans controlling music, fashion, slang, trends. They see black Americans demanding reparation. And some of them don't like this because it exposes their own insecurity. They came here chasing the American dream and they're finding it's not sweet as they thought. And meanwhile, black Americans who didn't ask to be here are still fighting and standing tall despite 400 years of oppression. So this burns them up. So what they do, they attack, they disrespect, they rewrite history. But the truth can't be erased forever. The truth can't be erased forever because what's happening right now is part of global black awakening. Right now, black people are waking up. It's not just America. It's happening in Africa too. It's happening in Caribbean too. It's happening in Europe. Black people everywhere are waking up to the lies we are being told. The lie that Africa is poor. The lie that black Americans are lazy. The lie that we don't deserve reparation. The lie that we should just go over slavery. But we are awake now. No more lies. We are connecting the dots between black Americans, Africans, Afro-Caribbeans, Afro-Brazilians. And we are seeing that this system was designed to keep all of us weak. But the time is over. That era is over. Black unity is rising. Economic power is rising. When you talk about cultural pride, it is rising too fast. So when people try to play games like calling black Americans immigrants, that's just desperation. And they're watching people who have been through hell rise up in power and they can't handle it. So I'll make something clear. Black Americans first are not immigrants. Black Americans build America. And now black Americans are reclaiming the piece of it. Number two, reparation is not a request. It's a requirement. When black people talk about reparation, it is requirement. It is not about begging. It's not about the request. Number three, respect is not optional. It is mandatory to black people. History is not something you can edit. Let's get that clear. History is not something you can edit. It is permanent record. Even if you try to erase, it is there. And I want to say this directly to any migrants who is watching this video. Black Americans don't owe you anything. We have heard even Latinos saying this. They don't. Black Americans fought battles and they earned the respect. If you want unity, if it starts with truth, and the truth is that black Americans are not immigrants. Black Americans are the foundational of that country you are living in. They founded that country. And to my black American family, I will say this. Hold your head high and never sink. Never shrink yourself for anyone. Your ancestors are smiling on you. And you are the fulfillment of their agendas, of their prayers. You are not immigrant. You are not visitor. You are not guest in this country. You are foundational, okay? And when you are foundational, you don't ask for respect. You demand it and you get it. So for those who want to stay mad, you just stay mad. Let them throw the insult. Let them throw the stones. But just remain focused on the mission. The mission is unity. The mission is power. The mission is ownership. And the mission is liberation. So drop your comments down there below. Are you seeing the disrespect? What's your take or what's your message to the people who try to erase black history? Tell me in the comment section. And let's have this conversation go on and on. So you may like this video, subscribe and share to the people who think they need to hear this message.